Good day. You didn't catch the death while alive. A friendly meeting with Impermanence session? Don't worry, the full breakdown is now available for you. Let's dive right in. You're welcome. Death while alive. A friendly meeting with Impermanence. Death while alive. A friendly meeting with Impermanence explored the philosophical concept of consciously letting go of false identities and attachments to achieve true awakening and freedom in the present moment. Speakers and expertise. The primary speakers, at Naramist and at Dr. Tomsty, demonstrate deep expertise in spiritual philosophy, self-awareness, and the human condition. They guide listeners through complex concepts of ego dissolution, impermanence, and conscious living, drawing on various spiritual traditions. Key topics discussed. Death while alive. This central concept is defined as a conscious, deliberate, and radical act of dying to every false identity, attachment, constructed narrative, comfort zone, fear, and illusion while the physical body still breathes. It's about the dissolution of the ego self to reveal pure, uncontaminated awareness. Impermanence as the operating system of reality. The speakers emphasize that everything that arises, passes, including thoughts, emotions, relationships, and even physical bodies. Resisting this fundamental truth is identified as the source of almost every form of human suffering. The lie of the constructed self. The discussion highlights how identity is constructed from birth by external factors, parents, society, trauma, culture, leading individuals to falsely identify with their career, relationships, nationality, or religion. The hardest truth is that none of that is you, and every attached identity is temporal and will die. Specific deaths that free you. Death of the victim identity. Releasing the narrative that one's personality is built around past traumas, recognizing that the wound happened in the past. It is not happening now. Death of approval addiction. Letting go of the need to manage others' perceptions and make choices based on what will they think, freeing oneself from being a slave to external validation. Death of certainty. Releasing the need for one's worldview and beliefs to remain intact, finding true stability in presence itself and awareness rather than constructed belief systems. Death of the separate self. The most fundamental death, involving peeling away false identifications to realize pure, indivisible consciousness, as the self one believes to be a bounded, separate individual, is a construction of thoughts and not ultimately real. Death of control. Recognizing that one does not own this breath, this body, or even the people you call mine, leading to a softening and release of gripping. Death of the story. Understanding that suffering lies not in the present moment, but in the story about the present moment, e.g., I should be further than this. Key insights and predictions. Real awakening is subtraction, not addition. It is a death, not an improvement of the current self. Ego's resistance is futile. The ego's attempts to protect the false self only postpone the inevitable meeting with impermanence, costing individuals their freedom in the present. Impermanence is a teacher, not an enemy. Embracing impermanence brings relief, not grief, and leads to a peace that comes from being at home in impermanence itself. Suffering is a choice. It stems from clinging to things and resisting change, rather than from the events themselves. Physical death is not to be feared. By practicing dying now to the false self, physical death becomes just one more release into the vastness. Actionable recommendations and consensus views. Daily self-inquiry. Every morning, ask, what am I identified with today? What story am I defending? What fear am I operating from? What version of myself am I protecting? Then, consciously release it. Embrace grief. Allow grief to move through completely, recognizing it as love completing its circle. Question beliefs. When beliefs are challenged, get curious and ask what needs that belief to be true to feel safe, as this points to something that needs to die. Practice presence ruthlessly. Focus on this breath, this moment, this aliveness to diminish the grip of past stories and future projections. Befriend impermanence. Practice letting go before life forces it, including the need to be right, validated, or remembered. Leave consciously now. Don't wait for a crisis to meet impermanence. Observe thoughts and emotions rise and fall, recognizing oneself as the awareness in which they appear. Stop defending edges. When you stop defending your edges, you discover you were always infinite. This releases energy for true expansion. If you stay with me this far, thank you for your attention. Don't forget the link to the full recording of the session is in the comments section for those that want to catch the replay. Also, don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear this today. Together, we don't just wake up. We rise, collectively and powerfully.